There's a difference between self-confidence and personal power. One is, I think, more practical, and the other one is deeper and more powerful. But both are important for living a truly fulfilling life. Without self-confidence and personal power, you risk avoiding things that are a bit challenging and also risk playing small. You're also likely to seek love and validation from sources outside of you, which puts you in a bit of a vulnerable place because you can never fully control how other people perceive you. So in this video, I'll explain some of the differences between confidence and personal power, and then I'll share a few ways you can develop each of them. So let's begin with self-confidence. So first of all, confidence is not a personality trait. It has nothing to do with your personality. It's more an attitude, and it should be built on what you can control. A lot of it has to do with being resourceful and having a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. When you have a growth mindset and are resourceful, you feel confident, or you are confident in your ability to acquire the skills or knowledge that you need to do a task, or even find the help and support to help you do the task. A great book I recommend on this topic is Mindset by Carol Dweck. Self-confidence can also come from experience and expertise. John Lee Dumas, who's the host of the podcast Entrepreneurs on Fire, often says, practice breeds competence, and competence breeds confidence. The more we practice our craft, the better we become at it, and the more confident we are in our ability to do it well. Something else that can make you confident is courage. When you make it a habit to do things that scare you a little bit, you build resilience and inner strength, which lead to being more confident in your ability to face challenges. I'll give you a quick example. Perhaps you know Lewis Howes of the School of Greatness podcast. Well, on his podcast, he often shares a story of how during high school, he was super shy and could not go talk to girls. And then one day he said, I have to do something about it. So he committed to himself to go talk to at least one girl every day. He was petrified, but he decided to do it anyway until he would feel less scared. And so he did. And he discovered that when a girl didn't want to talk to him, and when he was basically rejected, it didn't kill him. So by facing his fear and being courageous, he built resilience and became more confident. And you have control over all these things: developing a growth mindset, being courageous and resilient, and being resourceful and practicing your craft. You can control and cultivate all these things. And that's the most important thing to understand. Solid self-confidence cannot be built on external factors like recognition or praise. If you build your confidence on external factors or external validation, it'll always be sort of at risk and shaky. Like, what will happen if someone does not acknowledge you? You'll probably feel bad about yourself. Your confidence should also not be attached to a result or an outcome, because again, it's not something you control entirely. We never control 100% of an outcome. If you build your confidence based on the results you get, it'll be like a constant emotional roller coaster depending on if you succeed or if you fail at something. But you do have control over the effort that you put into the process. John Wooden, who was one of the best coaches in the history of sport, said in a TED Talk,
from those things and one other perhaps, I coined my own definition of success, which is peace of mind attained only through self-satisfaction in knowing you made the effort to do the best of which you're capable.
And the same idea can be applied to building confidence. So don't build your confidence on things that you can't control or are outside of yourself. When you do that, it's like if you give your power away. Before we get into personal power, I just want to say a quick note about self-worth, because that's another term that's often confused with self-confidence. First, self-worth comes from within. It comes from radical self-love, self-acceptance, self-respect, and self-compassion. It's not about your skills or talents or even about having a growth mindset. It's knowing that you are enough just as you are without having to do or achieve anything, and that's a key aspect of personal power. Personal power is more profound, deeper, and more solid than self-confidence. You can feel a person's personal power in their energy. It's palpable, and it mostly comes from knowing who you are. So on a more superficial level, it's about knowing your values and why those values are important to you and what you stand for, and also about living with integrity. It can also come from having a sense of purpose or living your life purpose. Also, when you have a vision or a mission or a message that are bigger than you and that make a positive impact on the lives of others, you also then have more personal power. Another thing that can boost your personal power is your intention. Let's say you decide to start a YouTube channel or make TikTok videos, and you're scared of receiving hate comments or negative comments. If your intention when making and posting those videos is clear and comes from the heart, you won't be that affected by those negative comments because you'll know that your intention is good, that you intended to do good. The greatest power on this plane is unconditional love. So when you are loving toward yourself and others, you are your most powerful self. Now, on a deeper level, personal power mostly comes from knowing who you are beyond your personality, beyond conditioning, beyond your beliefs. A soul having a human experience. Think about it. Your soul doesn't need to be praised or achieved goals or look a certain way to be worthy. You are enough just as you are. And that's where true personal power comes from. In my experience, this depth of personal power really comes from having some sort of spiritual practice. It could be meditating or just reading spiritual books that remind you that you are a soul in a body. But I'm going to give you a few other ideas to help you increase your personal power. So you could create your personal manifesto declaring who you are, your values, what you stand for, and how you want to show up in the world. And once you've written it, then read it often. I made a video about how to create your personal manifesto. I'm going to link it somewhere on the screen and also in the description below. And another thing that will help you is to discover, I would say uncover, your purpose and your calling. And I have a free guide I can offer you. It's called The Easiest Way to Figure Out Your Calling and Life Purpose. So I'm gonna link it in the description below. There's so much more we could say about confidence and personal power, but I'll stop here for today. If you have other ideas that you would like to share, please do so in the comments below. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope this was helpful. I wish you a beautiful day, and I'll see you next week.